Hey everyone, and welcome to this Nordic Wealth Explainer. Today we are tackling this massive, honestly kind of frustrating paradox, because right now there are millions of hardworking people all over the world earning really decent incomes. I mean, they are doing everything they were taught to do, right? Going to work, putting in the hours, yet they still find themselves living paycheck to paycheck, just completely struggling to get ahead. So think about this for a second. What if the biggest reason people struggle financially isn't actually the size of their salary, but their daily habits? It's a pretty wild thought, right? I mean, you probably have colleagues or neighbors pulling in the exact same income as you, but somehow they're quietly building wealth year after year. Well, the real difference between barely scraping by and lasting financial success, it almost never comes down to just sheer luck. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into 10 very specific money habits that keep people trapped on that financial hamster wheel. And more importantly, we'll uncover the practical alternatives you absolutely need to start building real long-term wealth. To make all of this super easy to digest, we've grouped these 10 habits into 3 logical categories. We've got the spending trap, then debt and vulnerability, and finally, the wealth mindset. All right, let's jump right in. Okay, part 1, the spending trap. We're looking at habits 1, 2, and 7 here. These are basically the immediate, day-to-day cash flow problems that keep people totally broke, honestly, no matter how much money they actually make. Starting us off, habit number 1, spending before saving. Look, the standard approach for, well, almost everybody, is to pay the bills, buy whatever they want for the month, and then sort of just cross their fingers and try to save whatever happens to be left over. The problem with that? Human nature. Because our expenses just naturally rise to meet our income, meaning at the end of the month, there's usually nothing left over at all. But the wealthy? They flip this script entirely. Their golden rule is to pay yourself first. They literally automate it so a chunk of their income goes straight into a savings or investment account the exact second they get paid, way before they can spend a single dime on anything non-essential. And let me tell you, even really small amounts, if you prioritize them early, they are going to grow massively over time. And that leads us perfectly into habit number 2, which is a lifestyle inflation. This one is so sneaky. As your income goes up, it is incredibly tempting to let your spending go right up with it. You finally get that hard-earned raise and suddenly, well, you deserve a more expensive car, right? Then maybe an upgrade to a much larger apartment. Before you know it, you've tacked on a bunch of premium subscriptions and you're dining out way more often. It's the ultimate wealth trap. Now, obviously, growing your income is fantastic, but if literally every extra dollar just goes toward upgrading your lifestyle, you're basically just running faster on a treadmill without ever actually moving forward. Habit number 7 falls right into this same trap. Emotional spending. We've all been there, right? Maybe you're stressed after a brutal day at work, or you're just bored scrolling through perfectly curated social media feeds, or you see one of those flashing limited time only sales. Our brains absolutely love the quick dopamine hit of buying something new. But here's the fix, the 24-hour rule. Just force yourself to wait exactly 24 hours before you buy any non-essential item. That's it. Giving yourself that mandatory cooling off period forces your brain to switch out of that emotional, impulse-driven mode and back into logical decision-making. And honestly, more often than not, you'll wake up the next day and that overwhelming urge to buy it, completely gone. So that wraps up the daily cash flow traps. Let's pivot to part 2, debt and vulnerability. Here, we're covering habits 3, 5, and 8, and we'll look at the hidden structural risks that literally leave the middle class just one single disaster away from financial ruin. All right, habit number 3 is relying on high-interest debt. Now, don't get me wrong, credit cards can be really effective financial tools, if and only if they're paid off entirely every single month. But carrying high-interest balances over a long period of time, that is exactly like compound interest working in reverse against you. You end up paying this massive recurring premium for things you bought months or sometimes even years ago. Making it an absolute priority to pay down this expensive debt is crucial. Why? Because every single dollar you save on interest is a dollar you can finally free up to fund your actual future. But why do so many people fall into that credit card trap in the first place? Well, usually it's because of habit number 5, having absolutely no emergency fund. And I really want to slow down on this one because look, life happens to all of us. Sudden medical bills, your car breaking down out of nowhere, or a totally unexpected job loss. Those things are stressful enough on their own, but trying to survive those events without any financial safety net, that is devastating. An emergency fund acts as your ultimate financial shock absorber. It just completely removes the need to swipe a credit card and rely on terrible, high-interest debt when a crisis hits. It keeps a temporary, annoying setback from turning into a permanent financial disaster. Now, another massive vulnerability is habit number 8, which is depending entirely on one single source of income. Think of your total income like a table. If it only has one leg, that single paycheck from your 9 to 5, and someone suddenly kicks that leg out, the entire table crashes to the floor overnight. Relying on just one paycheck dramatically amplifies your financial fragility in the modern economy. So to counter this, you've got to start thinking about diversification. Just like you diversify an investment portfolio to reduce risk, you can absolutely diversify your income. By building up additional streams, maybe through some investments, a bit of freelance work, or a small online business, you create a much more resilient financial foundation for yourself.
Okay, we've covered the traps and the vulnerabilities. Now for our third and final section, the wealth mindset. Covering habits 4, 6, 9, and 10, this part is all about the ongoing education and the mental shifts you actually need to build long-term wealth.
Let's look at habit number 4, buying liabilities instead of assets. The difference between the two is incredibly simple, but I promise you it's life-changing. Liabilities, think expensive cars, designer clothes, things like that. These are things that actively take money out of your pocket and just lose value over time. Assets, on the flip side, are things that put money into your pocket. We're talking investments, stocks, or real estate that have the potential to actually generate income or grow in value. The reality is, the middle class often buys liabilities that they mistakenly think are assets, while the wealthy, they focus relentlessly on acquiring true assets. If you can master this one fundamental difference, your entire financial trajectory is going to change for good. Moving on to habit number 6, ignoring investing altogether. There is this huge, stubborn misconception that keeps millions of people totally out of the market, and it's this belief that you need some massive pile of cash just to get your foot in the door. But actually, the reality today is the complete opposite. Thanks to things like fractional shares, low-cost index funds, and zero-commission platforms, you can start investing with incredibly small amounts. Honestly, whether it's $50 or literally just $5, the absolute most important thing is just getting your money into the market early so that time and compound interest can finally start working in your favor. And that leads us perfectly into habit number 9, never learning about money. Way too many people act like education just permanently stops the day they get handed a diploma. But financial education, that is a lifelong pursuit. The rules of the money game are constantly evolving. Taking active steps like reading books, taking a quick course, or even just tuning into explainers exactly like this one, they allow you to master things like budgeting, investing, and tax strategies. Just like the money sitting in your investment accounts, your financial knowledge actually compounds over time too. It empowers you to make incredibly smart, informed decisions for the rest of your life. Finally, we have habit number 10, waiting for the perfect time. We see this all the time. People will delay saving, they'll put off investing, or they'll hold back on starting that side hustle because they're waiting for the market to calm down, or for the economy to settle, or for their schedule to magically clear up. But let's be real, the perfect moment rarely, if ever, arrives. This is analysis paralysis at its absolute finest. You have to stop delaying your financial journey. Taking small, imperfect, but consistent steps right now, today, is vastly more effective than waiting indefinitely for some perfect tomorrow that just never actually comes. So, when you step back, what is the ultimate takeaway from all of this? Well, building wealth isn't about hitting the lottery or suddenly